Welcome back, everyone, to the showdown at the Alleyway. This is game number 3, the finals of the finals. It went the distance. Finch here. I'm joined by JMac Tucker, the illustrious JMac Tucker, as we watch Ding Ding Slaps and Team Tree battle it out for supremacy.
Game 1 really came down to the jungle on the side of Team Tree, or Team Ding Ding Slaps, where Oswald was able to kind of go on a tear for them. Last time, Team Tree bringing it back thanks to the help of Lato and Baby Waluigi able to bring some presents for himself. This time, what's it going to be? We see the Kronos banned away. They don't want Lato back on that god, but my thing is when we're banning Kronos, there's still a lot of gods available out there for Lato to play.
Yeah, there's still a lot of strong picks, but you got to do this.
It's a good ban.
Yeah, Lato played so well that you absolutely got to take that out of his hands. And this isn't enough, by the way. Oswald needs to make sure that he sits on Lato the best he can. Oswald, clearly the best player on Ding Ding Slaps, and Lato the best on Team Tree. So if I'm Oswald, I don't let Lato run this game and decides what happens. And Ao Kuang, it's been banned away all set. Here it is for Oswald.
Oswald going to see what he can do with the Dragon King himself. As you said, he's been banned both these games, and we've seen a lot of ups and downs in the lifetime of Ao Kuang. Back on his initial release, he was the #1 banned god at the world stage, and we saw exactly why. And ever since that incarnation of him, we have seen this god have so many ups and downs. The most notable player, I think, in Smite's history with Ao Kuang is probably Johnny. So we'll see if Oswald is able to hold a same candle to the man himself, as once again, we see this soul, but this time it's not going over to Lone Uncle.
That's right. This looks like a shot really at that duo lane, right? To take that away. And then obviously the Geb for Kenny Alpha, who played it very well last game. So get him back on a pick he's shown he can play very well on, while also trying to make sure that Lone Uncle has to show us something else in that hunter role on this side. But Raijin has also been getting banned. Oh, this is scary, J-Mac. Now, over here on the side of Ding Ding Slaps, they're getting a lot of picks that have been getting banned away from them all set.
And once again, Erlong Shen picked up, most likely going back over to Baron 5s, who's played at both of these sets. We talked about taking the soul away, who's been on Lone Uncle every single time, but now it's not going to be on him, so we have to see something new from Lone Uncle. Now, nobody has been paying really much attention to this Erlong Shen that Baron 5 has been playing so well these last couple of games, so it's just another big comfort pick for him.
You know, I was going to say that this Robin got respect banned, but it's Team Tree that banned it, isn't it? They banned it away from themselves.
No, they did. They took it out of, I don't know why, actually. That's kind of, it's a little strange.
Waluigi had a good game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine he had a good game. Why not just keep it with him? But we do see the Erlong Shen locked in. And once again, Kenny Alpha going back onto this Geb. I think the Geb, while the Ganesh performed well, I think his team got too far behind for the Ganesh to be as impactful. And really, when I'm looking at a team fight, Pillars of Eternity or not, or like, you know, the Dharmic Pillars, I'm sorry, Pillars of Eternity was the old Nuwa Ultimate.
Right.
That was way back when. The Dharmic Pillars,
who missed that though, right?
Those are nice, and those can, you know, kind of hold people in for a half a second. But a Cataclysm taking 30% of your opponent's health in an instant? I'm thinking the Geb is going to be a little bit better for him off than this Ganesh, and we saw just how well Kenny performed on it last game.
Yeah, it's Bakasura that's in now on the side of Team Tree. And Waluigi, man, if you can play this Bakasura, then this is a huge pick for your team. You've got a lot to do, I would say, trying to go up against this Ao Kuang. It's not going to be an easy task for him. I expect some invades. Eat minions, the best secure I can think of, even better than Hog sometimes, so you better make sure that you're getting that value.
I think it now is better than Hog.
Sure.
I think maybe one or two incarnations of Hog might have been better than Eat Minion, but there's very few that really hold a candle to it at this point. And there's basically no abilities at level 1 that can out-secure a Bakasura so long as he gets them into that threshold. So seeing this one going through the bans, Hera again makes it all the way to the second banning phase, and it's going to be Ding Ding Slaps who takes that one off the table for it. Cernanos and Shibalanke once again banned away.
It makes sense. They already have their Raijin, so you might as well ban away one of the other better mid lane mage right now. Agni certainly could earn a ban too if they're looking towards the middle lane to try and limit that potential as well. I think it was Griffin Age who was playing that, or Failure by Design rather. So they want to take that one off the table. So we'll see. As you said, those two hunters also banned were pretty big.
Ban taken away here. Not quite.
Interesting.
And that's kind of one of those interesting flex bans there is you see the Soul who can go either into the carry role or the mid lane. It's the same thing with Ul. We've seen him a lot in the mid or the carry role. So kind of taking a flex shot here. A little odd, honestly, to me. I don't think Ul would be the one that I would ban out here. There is still some solo lane that you can take away. There's also other mages or other, I would think, higher priority hunters to maybe take off the table.
Yeah, with the Kernos and the Xbalanque already taken off, that kind of does open up the door. Everyone else feels like they're relatively on even footing. So maybe that's the idea, just trying to take Uller away. Maybe it's a comfort pick over on the side of Team Tree. But all the pressure's on them now to make sure they pick the best pick they can for Leto. Maybe that's the idea. Just Uller can hard carry, and you don't want Leto to have a hard carry. Maybe that's all that it is. But he's still got to make a decision as Vamana comes in, and I truly can't believe it that that's the call.
I can't believe they've done this. 3 games now. Granite Fiber, most likely Granite Fiber. I don't see this Geb going into solo or any kind of craziness with this. So a 3rd game for Granite Fiber. I mean, it's kind of the same story here with Baron Fives, who's had 3 games on the Erlong Shen. Now we're seeing a 3rd game on this Vamana. Maybe 3rd time's the charm for him. As the Hachiman gets locked in over on the side of Team Ding Ding Slaps, as well as the Cerberus. First time we're seeing the 3-headed Doge brought in.
Yeah, I'm glad that Cerberus is in. He's very strong. He can shred a lot of these protections to set up for this Raijin and for Oswald on this Ao Kuang. This is a great pick. Also great at removing beads from his opposition on the team with comp that is very likely going to want to hold on to them. I just don't know what they've seen from this Vamana that's made them want this so much for Granite Fiber, though. I mean, if he is a one-trick, I don't think the trick's very good. So maybe just get him. I don't want to beat up on him too much, but I mean, just he might need to try something else here because it hasn't worked for him yet.
I might have been a little BM on that one, but so far Granite Fiber hasn't really put up the performance of the Vamana we would expect for him to go in a 3rd time. But one of the things that we got to mention here is that this Erlong is now not going on to Baron Fives. It's actually the Cerberus going in his hands. And one thing that kind of is overlooked about Cerberus is his passive. The heal remove and the portion of the heal that he receives here. This is going to be a good matchup for him against the Vamana, reducing the actual healing output for Vamana's ultimate by 20% and then getting 40% of that for himself is going to allow him to really kind of deal out the damage to this Vamana and allow his squad to really move in on it.
You're right. As the Soul, it looks like now at this point is likely what they're going to hand over to Leto, and they're going to put the Bakasura to Waluigi and the Vulcan in the middle lane for failure by design. So Leto's going to have to truly show up, I think, on this Soul here, JMac, if that's how they're going to want to win this game. Soul's good. Soul can win games. I just don't know if she's a hard enough carry, if she can do enough by herself to turn this game around in their favor.
Not only that, I mean, this Vulcan, I'm honestly kind of surprised we haven't been seeing a lot more Vulcan recently, as he is really powerful in that mid lane, between the turret able to kind of help him quick clear at those earlier levels and late game ignoring 25% of your protections flat out. Turret can do a lot of damage if left alone. It's not often that we see it used massively in a team fight, mostly just for those objectives, and having one of the hardest hitting ultimates, but also one of the hardest to hit ultimates with that Vulcan, especially at that max range. It's going to come down a lot to, can failure by design get the damage off?
We'll see if he can. A lot's riding on him, not just on him, on Baby Waluigi, on Leto, on this whole squad, man. These stakes are about as high, I would say, as they can be. It looks like they're still waiting on Kenny Alpha to join the rest of the squad here at this point. Might be having a small bit of trouble getting into the match, but he's still got some time.
Still got a little bit of time before old Kenny Alpha gets into here and before they have to worry too much about it. But we can see it is going to be the mid lane Vulcan. We mentioned it, Leto on this Soul. A little bit different from the other gods he's played. Soul isn't the best of boxers early until that heat is online, and it takes a little bit early game to get that heat passive going. It's not like late game where you press 1 and 80% of it is built up for you immediately. In the early game, that first ability is only going to give you, I think, 40% of your heat passive. So it's going to take some time for Leto to stack that up and really be at that boxing potential.
Yeah, and I think we knew this pause was going to come out.
Right.
We can even see him in chat saying that Kenny Alpha at this point is He's having some issues with the sound, so he's trying to see if he can get back in the game and get everything started out. So they're going to pause it. But this is good. I'm glad we had a chance to talk a little bit more about these picks anyway, because it's the Erlong Shen for Devonator in that support role, which means they got to be going aggressive, I'm thinking, in this duo lane. There's no other reason to put a warrior over there, especially into Geb, who's just going to out-support you anyway, especially if you're a warrior. So they've got to make sure that they're as aggressive as possible to punish this slow start from this Geb.
And coupled up with the Hachiman, that's a lot of attack, mostly basic attack, that's going to be coming out from that duo lane. So I expect very early on to see things like Midgardian Mail. I wouldn't even be opposed to seeing one coming out of Kenny himself, and I imagine that Granite Fiber has to pick one of those up because you have two basic attackers with the support, who's going to be a little bit less relevant late game with his basics, but with the extra attack speed that Lone Uncle can provide himself on that Hachiman with the Heavenly Banner, needs some form of anti-attack speed, and with Oswald on that Ao Kuang.
They still have that balance though on the team that I think is important, because Baron Fives is still the Guardian, he's still the Cerberus, who's very strong late, and they'll be able to kind of trade off roles in that mid game. Instead of being the super aggressive support, he'll kind of move into a bruiser, and Baron Fives can come over and be that traditional support for the team. To me though, it's going to depend on how well Baron Fives can get value out of his ultimate, and if that's going to set up for Griffin Age and for Devonator to come in and find value with their control when things like beads and Mag-Eyes are popped already.
And a lot of that's going to depend on how many relics he can get with each cast of his ultimate in these team fights. We know that Failure by Design on the Vulcan doesn't have any CC immunity to his kit, so if he gets caught inside that circle and he can't backfire out of it fast enough, he's going to have to pop those purification beads to get out of the ultimate. Otherwise, he's just going to get thrown into a hellfire from Griffin on the Raijin and Oswald, even if he's in the area with the Ao Kuang. So Failure by Design, I imagine, has to be picking up purification beads very early on in this game.
Yeah, it should be his first relic, without a doubt. Maybe there's some consideration to Aegis against this Ao Kuang because he'll have so much burst, but I don't know if it's damage that you predict so much as you want to be able to beads to try and get away from that execute. So I think purification beads are going to be the call for Failure by Design this game. And they've got plenty of setup, right? They've got this Gem that can make things easier for him to hit a lot of his damage, but it's a matter of getting there, it feels like to me, and that really does fall at the feet of Waluigi. Can he handle this early game in the jungle for his team, or is Oswald going to get away with this Ao Kuang pick?
And really, that's the story for it. Is Bakasur is known for his early game pressure, being able to steal buff camps very easily with that Eat Minion ability. Oswald has a little bit slower clear earlier on. It's not as easy for the Ao Kuang, and it's until he hits about level 6 or 7 that he can start clearing those camps very efficiently. But finally, we see Kenny Alpha able to make it into the game, and so the players are now finally able to start buying their items and start making their way onto the map.
That's right. They should be able to start moving out. So we're just about ready to get things underway. A brief pause as Kenny Alpha gets in here, but it looks like now the audio and everything should be good. Again, on the order side, Ding Ding Slaps and Team Tree on the Chaos side here this time. At least I believe so, as we move in Warrior's Blessing for Granite Fiber. And a round shield start. Nothing too surprising there. Leto building the Hunter's Blessing, and I assume something else. No need to leave with just that, so we'll see what he decides in just a moment. But aside from that, everything else looking fairly normal, except maybe the magic focus start from Failure by Design. We don't always see that.
No, we don't typically always see that, but one thing that could be relevant onto this team is the healing that they could go. Typically with Ao Kuang, you're going to see a Bancross Talon, maybe a Typhon's Fang. As you can see, he's already starting into that Tiny Trinket. And not only that, the ultimate from Devonator, the heals that come out of Cerberus's Leap, and just lifesteal in general from some of the other players. So he might be looking for a very early Divine Ruin.
That might be the idea, to try and slow some of this down. You can see Vulcan benefiting from the turret, has it chilling over there with Waluigi while he moves right towards the mid lane, so he'll have at least the positional advantage early on. And we see our duo lane, where I said I wanted to see some aggression, and that might be what we get from Devonator, who's looking like he wants to loop around and gank them from this middle lane. Heavenly Banner already has some damage, but no, Devonator just going to walk back in the normal way.
He's going to throw out the pin and not really going to land on anybody, just do a little bit of damage to them. And Leto able to out-clear Lone Uncle here, even get that Stellar Burst onto him, put some poke, but Heavenly Banner doing some hefty poke back on itself. And count Kenny Alpha maybe taking a little bit more, but it's Leto who has to be careful. Devonator's doing quite a bit back to him.
Yeah, I don't think Devonator got into that wave in time. I don't know why he started in the jungle and then didn't do much. his ability to come up and clear the wave with those cleaves early would have been huge. In the end, it doesn't matter too much. They've got the pressure back, and they did some decent poke. I just think they could have gotten more if he started at the wave with them.
And unfortunately for Kenny, he had to pop that shell just to get Leto out of danger. So they're going to concede these last 3 archers and go straight to their purple buff. Might be able to clear it in time to maybe hug the wall and get the experience at the camp, but instead the minions are going to meet up, so it's not even going to make it to the tower line. Oswald looked like he wanted to maybe try for an invade, but saw that it was Baby Waluigi on the round. He's like, I'm not going to be able to get that.
Yeah, the entirety of Team Tree was in that duo side jungle, so there was no way an invade was going to happen. So I'm glad he saw that better heads prevailed and he backed off there. There really wasn't much opportunity. But there is a bit of an awkward timing there when you're the jungler, when you've cleared the red, the mid harpies, and that wave, when you have a second where there's not a ton to do. Maybe your duo can meet you for oracles. So I think he just kind of went to go see if maybe there was a chance. If there was nothing, then he didn't really lose any time in the jungle.
Griffin Age. Now that he's got that Raiju online, his wave clear is going to be a much more powerful form as he's able to nearly full clear with just 1 point into each of those abilities. And Fair by design, keeping up with him on the wave clear, it's important for the Vulcan to stay relevant. No, that's staying ahead at the moment. Being able to drop that turret at the backside at that speed buff allows him to start getting that early wave pressure.
They're going to need that early wave pressure as Baron's taking some poke over on the solo side. That might be not nearly as interesting as this duo lane, though, if Devonator is able to find a nice pen and maybe punish Leto, who's still holding on to his beads for now. But no, it's this Soul almost single-handedly that has the pressure in this lane. She's been able to clear the wave so evenly, and with that heat stacked up, Devonator can't afford to take the autos.
Oh, Leto can't afford to take too many more of these heavenly banners as he's been smacked by almost every one that Lone Uncle has dropped on top of him. But Leto does have that tiny trinket, so he's got a little bit of lifesteal, plus the Radiance gives him that 25% of his missing, but he keeps taking these shots, a good Geb Shield to make sure he doesn't take anything just in case, but Leto has just been taking a lot of unnecessary poke, I would say, so far in this lane.
It's only 3 minutes in. I just don't know if this is why you pick Erlang support, though. Like, to go even in lane. It's still early. They've got a chance to do more, but I just feel like they should have had pressure in this lane from wave 1.
I mean, we're at 3.5 minutes, and this sprint has yet to have been activated by Devonator.
It's
especially,
upgraded, yeah.
It's the upgraded one. This is the time that you get is you bought this so you could kill somebody in this lane.
Absolutely.
And so far, Leto, who I would have said right as that Geb Shield wore off, you pop that sprint and you go hard as fast as you can against Leto because you have the haste effect with that upgraded sprint. Just go for it.
And now they've given Leto time to make a smart decision that I like, which is to just start going into the tier 2 boots right away to give him a little bit of extra mobility in this lane. And he'll need every bit of this 12% that's available to him because Devonator and Lone Uncle will try and chase him down. Things could change a lot when the ultimate comes through. That adds a lot of kill potential for Hachimans, having that mounted archery. But I really do think that an opportunity was lost, that they didn't go more aggressive in this lane. And it comes down to me to Devonator kind of just lurking in the jungle a bit, instead of just stepping up and having pressure on the wave.
I think that they've missed their window of opportunity for a quick, easy kill on Leto. Now that he does have those boots, it is boots 2 to boots 2, so neither of them going for their lifesteal options to level up early on. Instead, they're just going to option for the mobility, and I really do think that this opportunity for them to run down Leto has kind of been missed now.
I don't understand why he's afraid to get in there and cleave these minions. It means the wave clears even. Now this is good. He's going in with the haste effect, but he ends up falling back right away because the Disapparate came out.
And
I don't know.
Again, right now, I'm seeing Disapparate down, bait out the Geb Shield real quick, and then maybe try and go for it again, but they're just not biting on it at anything. Every little bit of bait that Tree is throwing out to him, Ding Ding Slaps is just not following up with it. They're just letting these fish go every single time.
Yeah, it's going to be much harder now that Kenny Alpha's level 5 and they've got the Cataclysm available to them. Geb can struggle on those first early levels, but this is going to be a much more difficult task to try and invade. And when we see Devonator roaming into the jungle, he has not yet been able to find a path to take or really any kind of way of finding any aggression.
Well, we see Baby Waluigi might be making his presence known. Rotates over towards these oracles, but doesn't see him. Now making a rotation over to this left side. Maybe seeing if they can get something off of it.
Yeah, this is good. They just pinged out that the dash is there, and he's going to blink in and drop the Regurgitate. The Cripple Field is available, but the rollout is just that much better. Perfect play from Kenny Alpha. Glad the audio's working, my man, but Oswald gets a kill, but it's a double from Waluigi.
Might be getting another one. Kenny Alpha goes under. That's a double
Oswald.
kill for Oswald. Both the junglers are going, but Griffin ran right into him, and Griffin's going to pick up a third kill for Ding Ding Slaps.
So that is first blood in favor of Team Tree, I'm pretty sure. But it doesn't end up mattering because 3 kills go the way of Ding Ding Slaps, and they get the buff invades on the back end of that, or not the buff invades rather, but secure their own. So this is still a win for Ding Ding, I would say, especially because they're getting all this time to farm with 1 extra death on their side. They couldn't clean up Devonator quite quickly enough, and they end up having to die for it was the problem.
And a big thing with that is they were able to get 1 kill onto Griffin, but the 2 kills that Oswald got, one of them was on the double killed already Baby Waluigi, so he got that extra bounty from him after Baby Waluigi got those 2 kills of his own. So a big little turnaround there for Ding Ding Slaps, bringing it into their favor. Trying to get these mid camps or even just some poke, as Favored by Design takes about half of his health from that 1-2 combo on Griffin.
Yeah, the 2 differences for me in this JMac is that there's an extra death there for Waluigi, so a little bit of lost time farming for him. In fact, Failure by Design is going to fall. I don't think he expected Oswald to be there. Griffin Age played that perfectly, and that's another kill in the middle lane. Things just went from bad to worse.
I mean, we saw Failure go for that ultimate to clear the wave. That's one of those telltale signs of, I need to go back to base, and I don't have the mana or anything to stick around for it, so I throw my ult. Problem is, he threw it way too early and way off the mark, didn't clear the entire wave, and so he had to stick around. But during all of that commotion of the ultimate, he didn't hear the teleport come through from Oswald, allowing him to clean themselves right into it.
Well, Griffin Age, if you're going to beat, you got to do it much earlier than this. What a waste! They must not have been available for him or something, because that was just too late, and he ends up falling to Baby Waluigi.
Left side, we're going to see a kill over on for Lato, taking down Lone
nice.
Uncle. Devonator unable to save his carry, and I was focused over into theirs, and then the mid lane kill happens, and flipping right back on over. Ding Ding Slaps trying to keep pressure up all across the map, but they get two deaths on themselves this time around.
Yeah, that's 2 deaths that don't need to happen there. Griffin Age ends up getting punished by Baby Waluigi, and the ganks up to the Raijin are good, but if he beats Thundercrash out of there right away, then at least force Waluigi to make that choice of if he wants to dive under the tower or not, and if he can keep that chase going. Instead, that ends up being a clean kill for Waluigi that's actually towards safety for him.
One thing that we need to see is Baby Waluigi start making more presence in the lanes. We saw a great rotation to duo lane, netted him 2 kills, but Oswald was right behind him getting 2 of his own. We can see they're even in level, but Oswald does have a very slight lead over him, about a half a level, and we don't want to see this Alquan get too far ahead. He's already got that Bancross talent and the pen boots online.
Oh, you're right. That's a nightmare now. And that's the difference I was trying to highlight earlier before we saw that unfortunate spill for Failure by Design and Griffin Age in the middle lane, is that there has not been a break in the farm from Oswald yet all game. He's been able to farm uninterrupted, like Girl interrupted or whatever, but in Oswald's favor, and now he's been able to just have a free farm so far this game. So yes, his dual lane's taking some spills, but they're still even, and yes, his mid lane took that 1 fall, but look at Oswald and the fact that he's level 10, tied for the highest in the game.
He's going to be able to claim his speed buff. He got that back camp. Blue buff is up, but he's not making that rotation over just yet. Looking to see if maybe he can try and get something here into this mid lane. If we look at the charts, it's pretty much dead even. 500 experience, about 350 gold in favor of Ding Ding Slaps. And with the kills dead even, that first blood bounty that they got on Tree just wasn't enough, as Oswald able to help keep this lead up for his team.
One thing I do want to highlight, though, is that Griffin Age went with this Book of Thoth rush. A start we don't see as much, but I hear is still just as good. And he's really almost got it done. He's at 64 of 75 stacks. So he's going to hit a nice power spike very soon from that completion of those stacks. And that's going to be another big problem for Team Tree. Are Oswald and Griffin Age going to be able to capitalize on another opportunity here in mid? Is something I got my eyes on.
Once we approach the 10-minute mark, the 2 big boys of the right-hand side have spawned in. The Pyromancer and the Fire Giant are here. Nobody really in position to go for it, and really even in position to go for a Gold Fury, as we just see Devonator clearing out those Oracle Harpies. Griffin Age going to come over just to make sure that they can get them, but Griffin Age with those cooldown boots, he's going to need a penetration item next. I'd imagine it would either be the Divine Ruin to stop the healing on their side, or Spear of the Magus, or he could just end up going both.
Spear of the Magus is certainly strong. He already has cooldown boots, but another 10% is still certainly nice. So I wonder if that's going to be the idea there for Griffin Age. Looks like Granite Fiber is considering getting boots this time, not the very first item. but will certainly get them before too long. He's got the Enchanted Buckler tier 1. This start doesn't seem super efficient to me. I'm not quite sure why he went into the tier 1 of the Buckler, but he's going to go ahead and finish off the boots, hopefully now. Warrior Tabi, so he can move around normally.
He's also a level down onto Baron, and now we see Oswald trying to make something onto Baby Waluigi, who dropped the ward right on top of his back harpy camp there. So now he'll not necessarily have the timer for that camp every single time, but he'll know when those rotations coming in towards the mid lane will happen there from Oswald.
I do want to point out, though, JMac, that Oswald hasn't really shown any attention to the solo side of the map this game, and I think it's to their betterment. That you can say it, Baron 5s has the advantage in lane even by himself. There's no need for Oswald to be over there. Instead, I want to see him pay a little bit more attention to Laredo, excuse me, who's 1-1-1, a bit ahead of Lone Uncle. You know, don't let this get out of control.
You can see Leto sitting level 11 up on Lone Uncle, as Devastator's been spending a little more time in this lane than we normally do see of these supports. You see Kenny Alpha made the rotation over because he thought possible danger. Ultimate in from Leto, but it's only going to get the turtle form out of Devastator, and that's going to be the end of that fight.
Yeah, this has disappointed me. We've seen no aggression from this Erlong Shen to justify the pick, at least here throughout the early game. And if you're a warrior in the mid game, I just don't know why you want it in the support role then. Like, I don't know what it does for you if you're not pressuring out the lane early on. Because what makes Warrior so strong, JMac, is when they're able to level up ahead of you, and they get so many base stats just from their levels that they're able to build tanky but still do plenty of damage. If he's not doing that, then I don't understand the point. I mean, he's just right into the Heartward.
And not only that, picking up the upgraded Heavenly Wings right off the bat, has yet to use them. And now into the mid lane, Griffin going to go up into the drums. And I like the use of the fear there, but the ultimate in for Failure almost drops, and the meatball over will finally grab it. Failure by design, getting the kill onto his opposition in the mid lane.
All can be forgiven when you hit ults like that. Now Kenny Alpha in some trouble. He's in the rollout, and he might absolutely be out after that. He just barely manages to find a way to weave his way through there, but it's Griffin Age who ends up punishing it. No, Devastator hunts him down with a long-range pin, and Geb sent back to base.
It's going to be a 1-1, but that's a mid for a support. I think they'll take that any day of the week there for Tree. They probably didn't want to lose Kenny Alpha there, but forcing them to spend more time than they initially had wanted to kill that Geb allows Tree to continue farming across the map. You can see those Oracle Harpies once again will go the way of Ding Ding Slaps. And Devastator looking to get aggressive here on Toledo, but he's all by himself. To separate very early will cause Devastator to back off immediately.
Yeah, Devastator's got to cool his jets over there on the left-hand side, at least for now. But what a good play from Failure by Design, right? Because I think we saw Waluigi make the right play to try and freshen out Griffin Age, but Griffin Age uses the Taiko drums well to fear him away, to create that space beneath the tier 1, and you think he's out, and then all of a sudden Failure by Design dunks from downtown from the free throw line like Michael Jordan, and all of a sudden that's a kill in middle lane.
Oswald trying to get something on a Granite Fiber. He's trying to back into the tower. Will throw the dragons and catch him in the item store, but it's going to be a turnaround here onto Baron as Baby Waluigi grabs him. But he's got to be careful. Execute not going to be quite there, but Oswald will clean it up with a second round of dragons.
It's a double kill for Oswald, and he does take down Waluigi, which is a nice, relevant kill. I'm kind of surprised he didn't bother with the coup there. It is just about to despawn anyway, but a double over in right is bad news if you're on the side of Team Tree, as now Oswald 5-0-0.
I think Oswald just saw more value in stealing away the blue and those back harpies away from this Bakasura. While the Totem Coup is nice, it is about to despawn, even getting the last one of the game. Not super important, but left side, there's a lot of action going on over here as Leto falls to Lone Uncle, and it might be Kenny next as Griffin taunts him in. That's exactly the call, and now Devastator can close the gap as he tries to catch up to him with the haste effect, but they don't need to. Oswald loops around from the jungle, and that's 2 kills now in duo. They've heard him in solo, they've heard him in duo, and this says Gold Fury to me. If they want to come over and try and take a look at this, they have Lone Uncle with them, though I believe there was a ward here, so they'll certainly know this is happening. Failure by Design has the ultimate as well if he wants to contest, but they can't even make it anywhere nearby. He's being zoned out. The ultimate is going to come out. Are they going to pull it away in time? That's not enough damage to steal that Gold Fury away. Baby Waluigi tries to come in and get a cleanup kill. He's going to get one, gets the double kill, jumps on the Griffin, might be able to get the triple. No! Just over the wall, Griffin Age goes. Waluigi wants to eat, though. He wants a little bit more. I don't know if Griffin Age knows he's still in trouble. He's sticking around. I don't think he recognizes that Waluigi's here with the slow. That's huge, but he is able to jump back in. That forced out the Aegis, and now underneath the tier 2, somehow Griffin Age lives. that Raiju just saved his life entirely. Not even, you know, he didn't even know he was there, so not even intending that Raiju to do anything for him, but that is going to be the saving of his life.
Yeah, I don't think that was the plan. Maybe it was, and really Griffin Age is just making the high IQ plays, but I think my man got fortunate to thank his lucky stars. He's still amongst us as he is able to make it out of there. But the problem continues for Team Tree to be this Ao Kuang, 6-0-0 now. And he has the demonic grip finished. Once he gets some pan online, truly none shall escape.
He wanted to back there, and the minion kind of stops him, so instead he'll just go get this last little back camp for himself as well. And stole that red buff away from, or not stole, he secured his red buff. I keep wanting to say stole because we've seen so many potential buff invades throughout all these games. I'm surprised we're not seeing a whole bunch of them this game.
Yeah, there hasn't been as much of it, and again, I think that might be a small failure on Waluigi's side. But in a game where you're keeping up with a 6-0-0 Ao, who's been playing as well as Oswald has, I don't think I can complain about anything you've done. So it's been a good game as Baron 5's falls on the solo side. That was Waluigi, as soon as he mentioned his name, going to show up and get a kill.
And Lado trying to get one of his own, but Lone Uncle able to live out the supernova. And now Lado being turned on himself, able to get into that Disapparate as Devastator tries to get something off of it, but nothing
Aggression
to
in
bite.
mid lane too. They want Baby Waluigi, who's been locked down. The execute's too early again from Oswald. That's twice he's done it, and failure by design punishes him.
Unfortunately for him, wasn't paying attention, didn't hear the audio cue, and again, failure by design gets a big Vulcan ult. Not only that, the backfire after to confirm the kill for it. Now, meanwhile, Lado and Kenny over here on this dual lane trying to see if they can push it down, but again, it's another rotation to the side of the map.
Looking for the purple buff invade. Devastator wants to lock down Lado, who might have bit off more than he can chew. Mounted Archery is going to be there as well for the slow. A great Geb shield. And the taunt, is it off the marker where they're beads? I think beads came out from Lado to keep him alive. That was perfect. Cataclysm stuns 3. And now they're going to be able to lock down the Erlong Shin. Big knock-up and the heal from the turtle form as he looks to get away, and Griffin Age finds a kill.
Oh, he's barely going to get himself out of that one, and Devastator will not find it as failure by design gets his third kill of the game. Killing spree for the mid lane Vulcan. Able to keep themselves irrelevant into this matchup. You can see the gold and the experience. Gold has at least evened out. Experience, however, has pushed in favor of Team Tree.
Yeah, Team Tree has made a few nice plays to close things back in, and I also have to wonder how much of it is Ding Ding Slaps, again, taking a few steps out of line. I'm thinking about Devastator, who couldn't close the kills. I'm thinking about Oswald not being able to find that execute in middle lane. That hurt a lot.
Twice now he's missed that execute just off the mark. The one thing that you hear from a lot of the top ends who play the Ao Kuang is, yes, that execute is nice. When you see the mark for the first time, throw an extra basic attack. Make sure one extra little bit of damage comes in, because they could just be 2 HP from the threshold, or they could be 200 HP. Make sure that you get that extra basic or something in to guarantee you get that execute off.
Yeah, that's good advice from JMac Tucker. I'd follow that if I was y'all at home, because you saw the results, right? Twice he ended up throwing him up into the air, getting the kill. He should be able to clean this up on the Granite Fiber, who is going to go up into that big baby form. They even dropped a Cursed Donk on him, so no healing for you. But he's fast enough where he might still get away, and now Waluigi's on his way. He does not have an Aegis to help out, and they're not going to get there in time at all. That's just Granite Fiber falling.
Granite Fiber will fall under the tower. Maybe he'll fall. There it is. The execute coming out for it, and Oswald Jr. being able to get the cleanup onto that one. The Vulcan ult from Fair by Design. Trying to bait Baron where he wants to go. Oswald coming in onto failure. He's trying to chase out the Cerberus. Baron will get himself out. But all the while in the dual lane, Griffin Age got a double kill.
Just when things looking good for Team Tree, Ding Ding Slaps pulls them back the other way. It's a laborious, lengthy kill that they find on the solo side on the Granite Fiber, but Waluigi can do nothing to punish them for it, and meanwhile Griffin Age, with a great rotation over the dual lane, punishes them there. All of a sudden things have kind of been blown open for Team Tree, and now the left side of the map is Ding Ding Slaps for the taking.
Tier 2 tower taking about a quarter, almost half of its health just from Lone Uncle alone. Fair by Design will be able to stop the continuing onslaught from him. He's level 19. Highest level in the game right now. Usually we don't say that about mid laners at the 20-minute mark being the highest level, but so far he's been having his farm game on top, and you can see by his build, he's built into 30% cooldown with that Mage's Blessing, has the Soul Gem and the Spear of Desolation.
Yeah, he must be farming out of his mind to be at the top of the XP charts at this point, as Oni Fury being considered by Ding Ding Slaps, where this would just give them a buff onto that next wave that they push out. So they might not be particularly valuing it at this point, and certainly not worth taking a risky situation in the jungle, so they'll let that go for now. But it's been impressive play. It's been back and forth from both these teams, but so far slightly favoring Ding Ding Slaps.
We can see that they started pulling that Gold Fury to see if anybody would bite for it. And now that both of those wards have cleared out, they know it's here. Leto, however, is the only one who can try and make any kind of rotation to it. And the Gold Fury is going to be gone before Leto can even get an ability out towards it. Going to get that to separate to run as fast as he can away, as Ding Ding Slaps confirms their first objective.
Unfortunate for Leto, he really just couldn't get there in time. And it's actually good he held on to the Supernova because he might end up needing it, as Waluigi has to jump away from Oswald's presence in mid. So now they have a small power play, right, with these enhanced minions that are about to spawn with this next spawn of the wave. If they want to try and make a push off that, or if they want to try and split the focus of Team Tree so those minions can do some damage.
Well, they're definitely not going to get anything in this left side as Leto is continuing to push down these towers. And now you see the rotation from Devonator and Lone Uncle as they want to stop it, but it doesn't matter. It's a soul. It's only a quarter HP tower. They're not going to get anything for it. And Leto instead turning this on to Devonator. Not going to get all those ticks of the Supernova. In fact, missing most of it. Now he's going to be attacked here by Lone Uncle, who's trying to get the pincer, but unable to be fruitful with it.
Fortunately, Devonator does not play that one correctly at all. He goes in a little bit too early by himself and just loses the 1v1, and then he doesn't run towards his teammate. So that way, Leto can continue to safely take that 1v1. He ends up giving away a little too much.
And not only that, Griffin H takes a spill because of failure by design, who threw out that ultimate mostly to try and catch out the dual lane, but instead catches Griffin H with it. And then the meatball backfire just to finish off the kill. Team Tree. Failure by design. We talked mostly about how it was going to be kind of Leto being the hard carry for his team in the last game. Now it's looking more on the backs of Failure.
Failure's the one playing well. Remember, Leto only on the Soul. She's strong, but she doesn't feel like a hyper carry. Just like a regular carry for your team that can blow people up, yes, certainly. But not maybe hard carry the game away an Ao Kwang can. So, like you said, we can look towards Failure by design. While Luigi's played well, too, to be the ones trying to close this game out for Team Tree. They are still down about 3k gold, well, 2,300 really, and actually leading in terms of the experience. So this game's still close, not entirely in Slap's favor just yet.
For all intents and purposes here at 23 minutes for the lead being this minimal, it's basically a dead even game. All it's going to come down to now is the team fight portion of this. These next, I'd say 10 minutes are going to be crucial for both these teams, and getting these big wins in the team fights and the objectives to follow after, as Pyromancer and Goldfury are both down. So one bad team fight could spell a Fire Giant going the way of the opposing team.
I'm surprised we're seeing Oswald with this Doom Orb here, JMac, instead of Penetration this early. I understand Demonic Grip can shred the procs with the auto attacks, but still often Ao Kwang is at his strongest when he's just bursting you with ability damage, and that is helped a lot by Dedicated Pen. He has some on the Shoes of the Magi, yes, but still a bit surprised.
I think the reason he hasn't so far is because he's mostly been sticking with Griffin Age for a good portion of his kills, and Griffin does have that Spear of the Magus online, which will allow him to get that penetration that benefits both of them. But I imagine after what should be... No, it's going to be the Chronos Pendant. I thought this was going to be a really early Rod at Tahuti from him, but after this Chronos Pendant, maybe sell the Assassin's Blessing, get some penetration, or it's the Rod at Tahuti, one of those two, but I really need to see some pen out of him first.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like a Spear to round this out, since he doesn't have cooldown elsewhere aside from the Chronos Pendant. He can build that quite nicely and go up to 30%. That might be the idea. We'll certainly see from Oswald, as he's had a great game for himself. He's played well all set, to be honest, and he's done a better job, I think, focusing the right targets this game. Leto is not dummy far ahead as he has been in the other games, so that means that he can feel much more comfortable, I think, about his team's chances here in the late game.
Nearly at that 25-minute mark, it's going to become the Enhanced Fire Giant over here very shortly, and that's going to be a much more powerful objective, not only to take down, but as well as the buff that comes along with it. You can see teams are starting to ward up for it, and now we see that enhanced buff lying around the Fire Giant. Devonator up in the middle of the fray. He's going to just see if he can catch anybody out.
Man, you think these teams know it's Game 3, J-Mac? Everyone's playing a little bit safer than we've seen these other two games, as Pyromancer gets pulled by Oswald and by Baron Fies. They've got Devonator, Griffin Age, and Lone Uncle on zoning duty, and this Pyromancer should be theirs for free. No one can get in there to slow it down. Not the hugest objective in the world, but a win's a win, and now it's going in their favor. Failure by design Has to be careful. He takes some poke, but nothing too crazy as Oswald jumps away from Waluigi. Now Waluigi may have overcommitted or maybe not. He blows him up. Failure by design. Follows up with his ultimate to the top as well. And Griffin Age has the ultimate to push them away. That's 2 quick ones for Team Tree.
Gotta stop holding your hands in the jungle, especially when you're going against a god like Vulcan who punishes you so heavily for grouping in a small area. See a stun here onto Granite Fiber in the mid lane, but he's going to be able to dash out no problem. As that fight, which looked like it might have been an overcommit from Baby Waluigi, was actually just a bait for Failure by Design to set up that massive ultimate.
Yeah, I think a team trying to defend this tier 2 with just 3 people isn't the right call, so I'm glad they give it up. That's 1,500 gold in favor of Team Tree. And I think they're heading right over to the good old Gold Fury. And this is like an old friend, you know? Not that fancy Oni, not the fancy Primal. Just give me my gold from a team so we can push this lead out a little bit further. And Team Tree, I say push the lead out. They've just now reclaimed it, at least in terms of gold.
Was it Barra who would call it the Banana Harpy?
I think that was an EU thing, right? Or maybe it was Bear. I'm not sure.
No, actually thinking about it, it might have been the EUs. They always called it the banana. But
yeah, I think so. That's right.
So if we have the banana for the regular Gold Fury, is it the strawberry for the Oni, and then what, like the kiwi or the lime or something like that for the primal?
You know, I think I could call the primal the kiwi and not mind that. I think I could do that.
I think we can go with the kiwi and strawberry. Kiwi, strawberry, and a banana. That sounds like a really good smoothie that I should be having right now, honestly.
It actually does sound like a nice smoothie. You're not lying to me, JMac Tucker. Some good ideas coming out from you. But what's this from Team Tree? They are counter-warding by the FG, but are they going to start it? It looks like they are. They've got all 5 members here, and they've got plenty of wards around. So the Fire Giant being pulled. Team Tree want to start putting Game 3 to bed right here, right now. Oswald's nearby, but can he find his way into time? Vulcan Ultimate's there, and Tree are able to secure the objective for themselves.
There was no attempt for them to try and stop this one as Oswald and Lone Uncle both on the retreat. Devonator too far away, and both of the opposite side. Griffin Age and Baron were on the wrong side of the map for that entirely, so Tree able to sneak that little Fire Giant under their noses. They knew it was there,
wow,
but just got it with no contest.
Right now, it's just confident, objective calls that's winning the game. They made the call for Waluigi and Failure by Design to aggress in the jungle. They made the call to pull this Fire Giant, and that's what's been the difference here over these last few minutes. Team Tree now making the call to back, spend some of this gold, and come back and push with this FG the right way. And this was delayed into the game when they picked this up. So this is the enhanced Fire Giant. It's going to be real tough for Ding Ding Slaps to fight into this.
That extra damage that they're going to gain from the enhanced Fire Giant buff as opposed to normal is going to be massive for them, especially because they have a Soul. Soul is one of the best tower pushers in the game, only I would say second to maybe Izanami. And I can't even really put Soul behind Isa because it's only temporary that Isa gets that buff where she's so good at destroying the tower, where Soul can do it at almost any stage.
That's right. She has that heat stacked up, which she almost always does. It'll be a very strong tower push coming out from Lado, and suddenly things are looking a bit dire for Ding Ding Slaps. They had some great base defenses in game number 2, JMac, so it's not all over for this team by any stretch. They're still very much in this, but I think they haven't gotten enough from someone not named Oswald this game. Griffin Age has been there for them, yes, but he's made some curious mistakes too, as this could certainly be one of them. Why is he in the middle lane? Why are you here, Griffin Age? You could certainly pay for this with your life, and he does. Lado gets the kill.
It's going to be the Supernova, and it might even be Devonator. He's going to get to the turtle, but he's slowed down forever. Failure by Design trying to put out some damage to it, but Griffin Age all alone up there. Yeah. No right to be in that portion of the mid lane at this stage of the game. A Fire Giant on 5 members of the enemy team. But another thing I wanted to point out was Oswald's been 7-1 for probably a good 10+ minutes of the game. We haven't seen really much of anything out of him after that 6-kill rampage.
Well, right into Mounted Archery, this is to slow down this push from Team Tree. Stygian Torment hits 3. That's big for Baron, but there's no kind of follow-up for it. Waluigi gets the kill. Now only 3 members alive. Oswald wants to come in. He's picked his moment, but he gets control. He gets stunned, force out the Aegis early on, and that's a Phoenix on the left-hand side. Design deletes Devonator, and they're going to push right for the end. Team Tree, they want to take the game right here, JMac.
They're going for it. 5 players versus 2. Oswald, he's already at half HP himself. Titan at half. Nobody's able to stop the damage from it. It's done. Tree has pulled it back from behind. Starting 0-1. Now, your champions.
Wow, that is so impressive. Ding Ding Slaps a bit of a collapse from them in game 3, and really just Team Tree making the right calls and making the right plays. That play in the jungle, I scratched my head initially, but that was great synergy from Failure by Design and Waluigi. They pulled the Fire Giant, and Ding Ding Slaps weren't ready for it. That opened up the door for them to take some towers and get some gold. And then Griffin Age, my man, just chilling in the mid lane by yourself. He gets blown up, and they never slow down after that.
And that was pretty much the end point for it. There was once Griffin Age got picked off, they didn't have a team fighting ultimate. They did, and that's kind of the big thing is they didn't have the team fight burst damage and burst ultimate out of Griffin Age to stop them. Because sure, the mounted archery is going to do nice damage and provide a slow, but as soon as that slow wears off, what do they have against it? Tree just pushes forward. They have Cataclysm. They have Vulcan ultimate. They have the cripple from Regurgitate as well from Baby Waluigi. There's nothing to stop Tree from pushing it on that Phoenix.
Yeah, this is this is just a turnaround set for me. While Luigi had a rough game 1 and turned it around entirely, Failure by Design continued to be consistent throughout the set as well. And Lado had a ton of damage this game, 17,997. I mean, he was up there with the most damage in the game. So even though his KDA might not have been as insane as it's been before, his value was certainly still there. So this really was a team victory from Tree, I would say. Just great performance all around. Even Granite Fiber had a better game 3 than we saw from earlier on. So this was truly improved. Ding Ding Slaps, I don't think you have to feel bad losing to a team that played this well.
Right, and each game it really feels like it was a different player dipping their hand into the MVP pool on both of these squads here. Lado was kind of the star of game number 2 for Team Tree, but I think Failure by Design and Baby Waluigi really came in big, and especially in this last game. Failure by Design hit a lot of big Vulcan ultimates that you normally don't get to see.
He absolutely did. Impressive performance from everyone on this team. 10 players, I think, came in and really showed it. Again, this is the showdown at the Alleyway, and the victory in a 3-game set, a back-and-forth match, ends up going the way of Team Tree. I think we're going to take a moment here, JMac. We're going to see if maybe we can get someone in here to try and do an interview. So we'll see if we can get a moment to try and get that set up for you guys. I know you want to hear from these players, and see if we can get them in here to give you all just a little bit of what they were thinking after that game. All right, that was the showdown at the Alleyway, the finals of it won by Team Tree. We actually have, well, I got to imagine a lot of people at home look at it as the MVP. I certainly do. Lado, after his impressive performance in that game, here joining us again, me and JMac Tucker Finch and JMac Tucker here. Lado, how are you feeling, man? That was a back and forth set.
That was really fun. Honestly, like my team developed so much throughout game 1, 2, and 3. It was amazing. Game 1, honestly, was just a whole bunch of testing. Like we didn't know what we were doing. We like everyone's kind of a bit awkward. And then in game 2, I was like, all right, this is the plan. This is what we're gonna do. And honestly, like with Kronos, it was so easy for me to just hyper carry in the late game. And then game 3, I was like, I don't think they're gonna let Kronos through. So here's the game plan. And honestly, my team listened to every call, and I'm really proud of it. Like I really like this team. It was nice playing all 3 games.
Yeah, Leda, I agree. To me, the difference I saw between those two teams in game 3 was like, just like you said, it looked like you all were listening to whatever the calls were. The call for the fire giant was great. I don't think that they expected it at all. That call for the aggression from Waluigi in the jungle, and then followed up by the Vulcan, was great too. I mean, it looked like you all were just on the same page in game 3.
Yeah. I told him, like, I just started calling out everything I could. I was like, just place words. We're gonna play this. Third game was like really tense. I was kind of shaking myself, and I was like, we're gonna let this go late game because we have the Geb, we have the Soul, we have Vulcan Baka, we have everything for late game. So we're gonna play it slow, but we're gonna ward everything as much as possible for the Ao Kuang, and we just literally kept our eyes on Ao Kuang, and we won that way.
So I think one question that's probably burning in the back of both Finch and I's mind here is, well, the rest of your team kind of diversified. You really started spreading out your God kits here. What was the mindset on giving Granite Fiber this Vamana all 3 games?
Honestly, I just wanted him to, like, he wasn't feeding like crazy. He wasn't, honestly, he didn't have a huge impact in the game, but he did what you could really say a solo laner did. He just went down solo, and
Right.
he wasn't getting caught. He was kind of just a big chunk of shield. So I was like, just play whatever you're most comfortable with, and we can take care of the rest, honestly.
So who convinced him to finally buy boots first as opposed to 5th?
No one noticed in game 1 that he did not buy boots. And then someone said, "Oh, I think you should buy boots." And I'm like, "Oh, no wonder I keep getting caught." Like, I was wondering this whole game, how am I so slow?
Oh no.
And he's like, "Oh my god." And then, yeah, he just started getting boots. I don't know. I guess you didn't get boots in rank now. Not sure.
I think that there are some builds where you can go without it, but maybe not that one. He didn't have any other moves without one. But you're right. I think that he definitely cleaned it up, especially in game 3, from what we could see. So really, everyone was able to bring it together. Can you tell me what it was like for your team at comms between like game 1 and game 2? Because game 1 was kind of rough, even though you still played well. Like, what was everyone's mentality and everything like between 1 and 2?
Yeah, like I said, our game 1, we weren't playing as a team. We didn't draft like a team. We just kind of, I want to play this. You want to play this here? Sure. It ended up giving them like a crazy good comp. And our comps were kind of quiet. Not, you're losing. You don't want to be that one person just kind of talking when everyone's like, oh, shit, I got ganked or whatever. And throughout the game 2, our comps got better. I was like, all right, we're going to do this. Like, I actually set a game plan for us, and we talked about picks and bans and what we should do. And I was just, give me Kronos, and let's just play for the late game. And they might farm me, but let's just make sure I get to late game, and we'll be fine. And then game 3, like I said, I was like, we still need the same comms, but this time I'm not going to be able to carry as much. I'm pretty sure Kronos is going to get banned, so I need everyone to like be on the same page, and they did. Ended up winning us the game.
So one thing that Finch and I, and probably a lot of people at home, didn't get to see was kind of the journey to this point. This was kind of a long-running tournament over, from what I understand, a few weeks here. What were some of your other matchups like throughout this tournament? Were they as difficult as this matchup with Ding Ding Slaps, or was it kind of just blowing them out of the water throughout until this stage?
Yeah, for the most part, it was blow out of the water. This game was, that's why I think game 1, we were just like, oh, we'll just play whatever we want. But then we realized, oh, this is going to be a harder game to win. So we started really getting our heads in together.
Yeah. Well, it was a really impressive set from you guys. Congratulations, of course, to you. But before I guess we let you go, are there any shout outs you want to give, I guess, to the rest of your squad or anything like that for playing well? Or?
Yeah, everyone on my team. I really liked my support. That Geb was amazing. I had to make sure he got it again. And then we just gave Luigi his Baka, and he said he would destroy the Ao Kuang, and he did. So everyone on my team played well game 3. I'm really glad.
All right, well, glad to hear it, man. Great job, Ali. I mean, this is your tournament and everything. Is there anything else that you want to say, or any words you want to offer before we get out of here on that note as well?
I do have one question. Leto, on a scale 1 to 10, how scared were you of Oswald?
Honestly, I wasn't. Game 2, I wasn't that scared. Game 2 and 3, I wasn't too scared. I really wanted him to gank me, but I wanted him to gank me alone so I could try to go for that 1v1 or something. But it never happened. Especially game 2, I was like, I really wanted to just gank me. Just please, just do it once. But he was definitely very scary in the late game 1 and game 2 or game 3. Like I had to make sure he did not get a lead.
Well, Leto,
All right.
it's been a
Go
pleasure.
ahead,
It's been a pleasure having you onto the interview, seeing your
Thank you.
performance throughout. I mean, I've been watching you specifically as a player grow over the last couple of years through the collegiate scene. Whenever you played in it and any of the other amateur tournaments you've been a part of, whether Smite Prime or Combine or anything like that. So, congratulations to you and your team for pulling out this victory and a hard-fought 2-1 victory here in this best-of-3 set in the showdown at the Aliway. A great matchup here, and a big shout out to Aliway herself for putting on this tournament for all these players.
No,
1,500,
thank you.
1,500 gems a piece for each of these players, a big prize for them. They can go spend that on their cosmetics and whatever other fun stuff in Smite you might want to get.
Of course, catch me in the Combine, JMac. Thank you, everyone, for hosting. Thank you, Ali, for hosting.
You.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't me. Thank you. Literally, it wouldn't have happened without everybody watching and then getting the casters. It was someone else's idea to get casters, and I was like, okay, I'll go out on a whim. And look where we are now. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks everybody for watching. We very much appreciate y'all being here. That's going to do it here for us. And follow Allie. Watch all her other stuff.
No.
She does cool stuff. So yeah,
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, you can find Ali on her Twitch here. If you're already watching, obviously you should be following there. You can also find her on @Aliway Streams on Twitter. And if you want to ever follow me or Finch for whatever reason, you can find us on Twitter @HighResFinch and @_JMac Tucker for all your Smite casting and Smite fun news. But that's going to do it for us tonight here at the Showdown at the Aliway. Congratulations to Team Tree on their victory. And thank you all for coming out. And I hope you all have a great night.
Yay.